When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey there, everybody! Welcome to Eye on the Target Radio. We are here to talk guns, concealed carry, legislation, laws, the latest news, and just overall Second Amendment type happenings.
Cool.
You kill me. You you're like, what can I say that just makes her want to stab me with a pen? Wait, though she's not violent. We'll just walk away from that. Yes, there is that. So we are Rob and Amanda, and we're here to talk all kinds of stuff. So I spent the last weekend with the Armed Women of America at their Ohio State Conference, and it is. I just love the opportunity to take women who are just learning the skill sets, just learning how to handle things, and giving them a couple more nuggets of information, giving them some stuff that so that they have an
When
idea.
you get there, they all got the same gun.
There was a very weird mix of guns. So there wasn't. It wasn't like sometimes when we do the Women's Day on the Range, that the one year we ended up with like nine Smith and Wesson EZs all at the same time, and it was like, well, everybody, since we're going to set our guns on this table over here, I want you all to take a picture of your serial number so that your gun goes home with you, not somebody else, right? So that it
They all
matches
look the
all of
same,
that.
huh?
Right. So, okay, so Mike White is saying that next weekend is Gun Rights Policy Conference in San Diego, and he's hoping to see some of us there, and he will see you and I there. He will see some of our regular guests there, and possibly he will see some of our listeners there. So the 28th and 29th Gun Rights Policy Conference is happening in San Diego, California, and you are like you never ever want to be a speaker. You're like, yeah, no, don't pick me. Just look away,
Uh,
right?
I got stuff to say, but I don't get to say it in front of everybody.
No, I'm not saying it in front of everybody. You're like, I am not making eye contact when they're saying, would you like to be a speaker? He's like, I'm not looking. If I don't look, it's kind of like my dog when he does something bad. If I don't look and I'm not making eye contact, they can't see me. That's how. That's how you are.
I like to drive from the back of the bus so I can just say things and it spurs you guys on into action.
Oh, okay. I see. So he's the mastermind behind the plan, something like that. Yeah, I'm not quite sure that that's the case, but okay. Um, so, I'm speaking on Sunday, and in that I believe that Gun Rights Policy Conference, the conference itself, is going to be available via YouTube. So if you can't make it to San Diego, that you can kind of tune into YouTube and watch the whole I don't know what it would be, 18 hours or some fun-filled amount of Second Amendment stuff, something in there.
There's a lot. There's always good stuff in that. I mean, everybody comes at it from a different direction. So you're seeing there'll be some that are there in like a lawyer type capacity. Others that are gun writers. Others that are just want to point out something
Mm-hmm.
like the obvious, like Bruin is tearing things apart, and
Right. So there's a group that are so since Second Amendment Foundation is the host, SAF.org, they are the host of Gun Rights Policy Conference. The first day specifically is our gun rights and who's doing what and what's the impact and what's that mean. So the speakers in that lineup are all, not all, but there are a lot of the the finesse of what's happening, the lawyers that are doing it, the cases and the impact and how those tag
like I
together.
say, they're starting to realize that weapons of war and Miller versus the United States 1939 go against each other. So somewhere in the middle of that, we're going to come to a reckoning that neither side of that is the right answer.
Well, there is all, yeah, all of that. But it's yeah, they can't, but they can't just keep going. Picking terms and then making it legal and not legal. All of those types of things. They have to.
Well,
It has to be legit.
the big thing is headlines are what sells. We don't. Nobody reads the article anymore. They just read the headlines. So
Hmm.
these little catchphrases are
Yeah.
the
So somebody
news the
soundbite,
news feed
sound,
of the future. I think.
sound, yeah, soundbite news,
What do they call that? Captioning when they like the
closed captioning.
Godzilla talks, and then
Yeah,
all of a
closed
sudden
caption
they write
TV. Yeah,
something else that
yeah.
you may not have said that, but that's what the captioning says. That's exactly how the headlines are. So.
Right. Let's. I'm not quite sure what Godzilla said, but that's where we're at, right? I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, so it's going to be the 28th and 29th. I am looking forward to it because there's so many people in the big fights doing stuff. So you get to see where they think the strategy is going to be, where they think the next poll's going to be, how they think it's going to stack up, and watching that how they think it's going to stack up really helps as you're reading the next news. So when you're reading it and you know in your head that they've said they're going this way and they're looking for something here, and these are the building blocks that need to happen
There's a lot
before.
of things like when Rahimi come to, we all thought it was going to go one way, and it went completely a
Hmm.
different way.
Hmm.
And it turns out that words have meanings, and
Right.
we the, the Supreme somebody asked the Supreme Court a question that was different than what everybody else had been
In their
asked
head,
in their head.
right?
So,
There is some of that, and I know that there's been times when we're waiting for a case and we're thinking, oh, that's a fabulous case to go, and then you and I've had conversations with Alan Gottlieb from the Second Amendment Foundation. He's like, oh yeah, no, we don't. This is the reason why you don't want that. This little nugget right here is going to be the thing that everyone stumbles over, and so they really are looking at it big picture and what that kind of means. But the other part about gun rights policy conference is you can go back and listen to the old years, and it's very much a podcast type thing. So you could just listen to them, and it will show you a lot of stuff. And know that when you do that, you're going to find out. Oh, it was in Chicago. Oh, it was in Tampa. Oh, it was in Phoenix,
Dallas or
Dallas. It moves around the country, so it is as far west now as it's going to be. So it'll be very interesting.
otherwise his feet will get wet.
Exactly. It's, if it goes to Hawaii, but I can't even imagine. Right? But it is a spot where
It's not a aloha type of.
it doesn't have that aloha spirit. So I mean, I know that they move into anti-gun territory because they want to be just a little bit in your face. I mean, we were in Chicago, and you know that that's not overly friendly, but it does move across the country and move back. So I was talking to somebody yesterday that says, "Oh, I want to go, but that's just too far." And it's like, just wait a year, it'll be back. It'll be back somewhere else that, Dallas is closer, Chicago's closer, maybe it'll be somewhere in Virginia. And it does move around, and it is open to the public, so you can just go.
Yeah, it's funny. They've always said that it's open to the public and to come on in, and then there was some discussion this year about whether you had to be a
You do not.
member of the
Hmm.
SAF, and it's like they would prefer that you were, but they want everybody. So
Right. There is no rules that say that you can't get in the door if you're not a member, but the membership is very inexpensive. And if, frankly, it's like this: if you're not a member when you show up, after you hear all the stuff that they're doing, I would highly doubt that you're not a member when you leave. Right? I mean, because it's that kind of quality work and quality information that is, if you're interested enough to go sit for a day and a half listening to speakers talk about Second Amendment topics, then you're interested enough to support that work and those people. And by joining the Second Amendment Foundation, SAF.org, that is a really good way to do that. That's one of those things where I've always said There's a couple life memberships that I have, and SAF and the NRA are both right smack dab in the middle of that because of the quality of the work that they do, and the fight that they fight for us, and how they fight, and how they educate, and how they speak, and just where that all stands. And for the Second Amendment, but for Americans in a whole, where they're like, let me explain to you why this impacts you, not just impacts a single person. So every American, the second is for them. We'll be right back.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women, who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Have you ever lost that perfect grip after shooting multiple rounds, or had your sweaty grip diminish the ability to hang on to your firearm in different weather conditions? The Locked-In Grip is a grip enhancer that keeps your hands free of moisture to create a slip-free connection to the action of shooting your firearm. Locked-In Grip Liquid Shooting Sports Chalk is made for shooters by shooters. Visit LockedInGrip.com. That is LockedInGrip.com to purchase your Liquid Shooting Sports Chalk now.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, so we are back, and I started until we got some squirrel talking a little bit about the Armed Women of America State Conference that was at the Cardinal Center in Ohio today, or this weekend. And these conferences, these women's shooting groups, they started in what, about 2010? Somewhere right in there, we started to see an influx of these groups, and the amount of work that they do and the training that they offer and the communication that they do has been really big for the Second Amendment community overall, because these are moms and grandmas, and they're talking about the fact that they're seeing when politicians talk about that somebody has a cache of weapons and a stack of ammo, they're like, wait. I have that because this is my concealed carry gun, and this is the gun that I go to the range with, and this is the gun that I go and I compete with. And all of a sudden it doesn't seem nearly as scary, and it seems a lot more like political staging. And so I believe that these women's shooting groups are critical to the advancement of normalizing the Second Amendment.
Well, we got one of the articles here, and they were saying that during the Obama years, that the young women between the ages of 18 and 29
right,
were typically more anti-gun than ever in history, and so that they're slowly tapering off to. But it's
going back to where it was. Is that what there was? Just a burst of it.
There was a dip. They said in the 2007, and then it came back up to where it's starting to get more popular for women. Like 40% of young women are
anti-gun.
Say they're liberal, and that they feel that the gun laws are too lax in the country.
So it really is.
But they said that the men in the same age are not. Their points haven't really moved.
Okay, so the data, it hasn't shifted. So the transition and the shift to more liberal thinking is the female.
Right, but it doesn't
young
affect
females.
The man. But then it was kind of funny because in the article they tell you that the old people vote.
Right.
And young people don't.
Okay, but the concern becomes, young liberals grow up to be older liberals who grow up, to be rabid liberals at some point, or some shift to conservatism as they get married, as they have families, as they start to interact with the schools, as they buy houses and pay for insurance and things like that, and they start to see those impacts. But at the same time, getting that a head start, then it feeds back to that everything I learned I learned by kindergarten or in kindergarten. Everything that's important.
Wasn't there some kind of a quote where they tell you that if you're not a liberal when you're
young,
school,
you don't have a heart, and if you're not a conservative by the time you're in your 40s, you don't have a brain.
Right.
Yeah, there is that, but there's a spot where you want that to be a mild swing. You don't want that to be a full pendulum ringing the bell on both sides.
So it shows you that when you're in that 18 to 29-year-old range, it's all about what do I feel, and you see that in the liberal sales pitch is more not about thought, it's about feelings that
right.
Fill in those blanks.
Well, I would say that the thing I noticed was the Armed Women of America, the absolute majority of that group was my age bracket, in some cases higher. So it's probably running in the 50 to 70-year-olds is where the majority of that is.
Well, a lot of it, too, is the 50 to 70-year-olds got money, where 20-year-olds don't have as much money to put into the...
So they have money, they have time, they have focus on hobbies instead of focusing on raising their kids or doing the
18
laundry.
18 to 29, they're still trying to build a career, but have their kids, buy a house, do all the stuff.
I'm at the ball game, I can't be at the range, I can't, somebody else has got to take, I think that there's a lot to that. So I think that there's a mix, but being able to get this group of people so that Granny's got a gun, right, is a good
and if Grandma
mix.
takes the kids to the range once, it doesn't take very long before you're hooked on that.
Right, and before you're educated as to what it means and how you do it and all of the pieces to it. So, yeah, it definitely needs to be a T-shirt that says "Granny's got a gun" because that's where that is. But we've got to teach a, a variety. So I was teaching about trigger press, about balance, and about natural point of aim. And it's really hard to tell people you can stand any way, anything, and shoot, and that's fine because you can. But if you want to get the skills to make it easier to shoot, easier to be consistent, easier to be repetitive, then there's these other things. So it's like, do you want to muscle it or do you want to finesse it? And how do you do this? And knowing that you have both of those sets of skills. Because I remember the one time getting in I won't say argument, but in a discussion where Chris Serino told me that my hat was on sideways and that he could teach people that they could stand on one leg balanced sideways and hit their target. And I'm like, I don't disagree with you, but I want them to be able to hit it each and every time, and so they need to have balance to be able to get back to where they're at.
You get that where you could bad training, you still learn something. You just learn it badly, but but good training makes it easier for it to happen. And I was reading a thing the other day, and they said that 90% of marksmanship is inside of your head, which it probably is. But I think that there is some learning to stop breathing and to squeeze the trigger. Don't yank on it, and this muscle memory or the eyesight memory of what your sight picture looks like to
well, I was telling the girls, I'm like, my brother says that he sees the hammer fall, he sees all this stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, as soon as it starts to go bang, my eyes slam shut, I see nothing.
So buy yourself a flintlock, it'll teach you patience.
I don't have patience. That ship sailed a long time ago. But it's really funny. I mean, and I think that they appreciate the fact that there are different people with different skills and different things, and you try to explain as much of that as you possibly can as to where it is and how it's going. We'll be back right after this to talk more Second Amendment.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the backseat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Have you ever lost that perfect grip after shooting multiple rounds or had your sweaty grip diminish the ability to hang on to your firearm in different weather conditions? The Locked-In Grip is a grip enhancer that keeps your hands free of moisture to create a slip-free connection to the action of shooting your firearm. Locked-In Grip Liquid Shooting Sports Chalk is made for shooters by shooters. Visit LockedInGrip.com. That is LockedInGrip.com to purchase your Liquid Shooting Sports Chalk now.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Okay, so we are back, and let's talk a little bit about the NRA. So the NRA is working on getting people signed up to run for the board of directors, and so there is the traditional nomination committee, and then there is a group that is that has been working on it. They call them their reformers, the revisionists, the I don't know, just words. So there's this big group of folks who are trying to get people to run for the NRA, not through the traditional means. So they're looking for new blood. So John Richardson, the podcast of Only Guns and Money, has a list of the candidates that need signatures to be able to get on the ballot. So let's talk a little bit about that. What do you know about it? How do you, so that you can help me explain to folks how this works?
I'm like Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing.
Right. Okay. So how does a person get on the ballot by petition? Do you know?
No, I mean I know he has to have so many signatures from NRA life members and 5-year voting members.
Okay.
But I don't know I don't know how you verify a 5-year voting member. I mean, a life member guy has a life member.
A 5-year voting number. He still has a number. So they say that they are, and so that's so the thing.
You have to start trusting people, and that's where the thing.
That's the conundrum. So there's that. There is that. But as a candidate who's running by petition, they are allowed to call into the office and say, I have this person. And if the person remembers their NRA number, then I have this person, I have this number.
That's another doubtful part.
That's another doubtful part.
Only nerds like me remember their number.
Well, nerds like you remember their number. A lot of people carry their card. I'm surprised at how many people carry their card. So, so the first is, here's their name and their address. So you can call into the office and say, here's the name and address. Can you verify their number? Then can you verify they're eligible to vote? Those are the two things. So it is a percentage of all the people who voted the prior year. And so the number this year is like 400 and...
So it's a floating target that could be...
It's a moving target. So it's like 405 good, solid signatures they need, each one of these people. And
the best part is, if you know one guy, he probably knows two or three others.
Well, yeah, and if you can get that guy to take your paper and take it to his others. But he's like, yeah, I know them. One's in New Jersey and one's in Alaska. Right? So, I mean, think about it. How many NRA Life members do you know that are within... here, let me hold on to this paper and I'll get the signatures.
My pool is thinning out due to attrition.
Attrition and age, right? There's that. So these folks, that's what they're doing, is they're going in and getting these signatures. So what they've done is they have published it on John Richardson's blog, Only Guns and Money. Then anybody who is looking at the reformers who's saying the NRA needs new blood, they could just go to that podcast, or I'm sorry, to that blog, and print out those, sign them, and there's an address to mail them back. They have to be mailed back by, I think, like next Thursday or something, next Thursday, next Friday, to be able to get to the master location, be divvied up, and then sent to all the candidates to give the candidates time to verify all the signatures. Because their deadline is like October 8th or something close to that. So it's interesting to watch how that's all working, but it is working. And then know that there is, the nominating committee has nominated the group of people that they believe should be the next NRA board. But people are now saying, I have opinions based on things. I want to know how they voted in this. I want to know what they think on that. I want to know these things. So you got to do a little digging if and as you're going to vote. And there's this year, the ballot is going to be chock full, absolutely chock full of really good candidates who look really good on the in writing.
It all goes down to what their little 120 word essay of who they are and how good they are. Or whatever.
Correct.
So the average person has no idea what they're looking for.
And
so,
they
this
don't,
guy, it's like, I've had a gun since I was 6. Does that make him good or bad?
Right.
A lot of times, in the past, it's been, I'm a rock and roll star, or I'm a movie star, or I own a company, or something.
The answer in a lot of cases is Captain Crunch would be elected because everybody knows his name, right? And so you want to go in and you want to read what they're doing, how they're doing it. And frankly, right now, new blood, if they have not been on the board before, that would be the place that I would start looking. But this year, there will be ad campaigns that are completely different than most of the time. The NRA board elections are kind of like insider trading. I mean, if you know them, you vote for them, and if you don't, you don't. And many of the people that we know that have NRA magazines are like, I don't know who to vote for. Who should I vote for? Or I've never voted.
That's why Ted Nugent and
Deacon Kane and Superman. They
get picked because people know those names. Where they don't know some of the others, and then people who like Joyce Hornady and that who own large gun companies, they get picked. Which you would think that they would be a good person in that position because they live that lifestyle.
They live this world, and they are so they're embedded and they're informed. I mean, the one thing that I've run into a little bit, and I don't want to be disparaging to any candidates who are running for it, but for me personally, I'm looking for some business acumen. So what business have you run where can you read a financial? Do you understand what that is? Do you know what auditing looks like? Do you know what accounting looks like? Do you know how you do business growth? Those types of things, because the NRA really is. It's an advocacy group, but it's a business. It's a $300 million business that supports the Second Amendment. And they do it in so many different ways that there's actually 44 different committees that the board is represented
So
on.
another thing, if you got a guy, say he's been a big shot in the Boy Scouts or something, do they take that into account when they put him on a committee and maybe put him into the training portion or something?
They try to. And they try to take your experience and do that, but you're looking at all of these people and trying to divvy them up and put them in, and know that the president and the vice president, as they move up through the chairs, are they only know the people that they know, and then they know the resumes. So think about this: you're playing baseball and you're picking the teams for the whole group, right? For everybody that's playing baseball, and you're trying to put them into their best team.
Right. Well, and then some of them write their 130-word thing about who I am is like, I like blueberry Pop-Tarts.
No, they're not allowed. It is their background is. It has to be. That's the thing. They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to talk about puppies and kittens and clouds and soft things. They have to actually, it has to be very factual, fact-based, or it will be edited. So it doesn't get to be that, if they put in their hashtag Wayne is gone, yeehaw, it's going to be struck through and they don't get to put that, right? So there's not a way that you can look at somebody and say, oh, they're a reformer or they're not, or they're whatever the words are, the old guard or they're not, or whatever that is. It's much harder. So there's a lot of people who are looking at him going, if you were nominated, I'm not playing. Well, but this year, some of the candidates that the reform group was looking at got nominated, which made their jobs easier, and it kept people that the reform group didn't want off of the ballot. So there's a lot. There's a lot at stake. This is very political in a weird sort of Second Amendment way.
Your problem is the NRA doesn't have a fantasy football background,
right? So
these people don't go over the stats and play all this stuff, so they understand.
And that's probably the perfect example. Is do we create a fantasy football team out of NRA board members? So who's your team and what are they doing and what their skill sets are and how well can they tackle the other old dude, right? I don't know. It really is I don't know how this is going to turn out this year. I don't know how the message is going to be shared.
Well, I don't understand. I mean, I know a ton of old geezers who are like members, but most of them aren't coherent enough at what's going on to choose wisely, Grasshopper,
no,
to
they're
fill
not.
in those spots. So they're just they look at it as,
and they're relying
I've heard of this guy, I know that guy,
and I've seen this guy on the news, and I've seen this guy's
and
up
too,
front
they say,
forward.
well, we have let's just pick a number, 87,000 eligible voting members, and 2,100 of them vote. So it's like a
it's a pretty small number, so you can influence it. We'll be back right after this.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Have you ever lost that perfect grip after shooting multiple rounds or had your sweaty grip diminish the ability to hang on to your firearm in different weather conditions? The locked-in grip is a grip enhancer that keeps your hands free of moisture to create a slip-free connection to the action of shooting your firearm. Locked-in grip liquid shooting sports chalk is made for shooters by shooters. Visit lockedingrip.com. That is lockedingrip.com to purchase your liquid shooting sports chalk now.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Okay, so the ATF has been talking about the fact that they are tough on guns, tough on gun owners, tough on gun sales locations, so tough on gun stores, sportsman stores, all that kind of stuff, because they have a zero tolerance for any shenanigans and hanky-panky.
Titelbach in charge and Biden is the puppet master. They're
right.
This is what they're getting, but I'm seeing that they're starting to relax a little due to the fact that they say that the worker bees are saying that the gun shop, or their working relationship with the gun shops, is disintegrating.
Well, okay, so let's talk about this. So in January of 2023, the ATF published an internal document that that was their Federal Firearms Administrative Action Policy and Procedures. And so the FFAAPP, go figure. Okay, so they republished the FFAAPP document on January of 2023 and said that they have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to inspections of federal firearms licensees, and they were revoking licenses for infractions. And in a lot of cases, there are clerical errors in the paperwork.
We had a shop, and no matter how many times you read that paperwork, there's a spot where somebody put the wrong initial in. They put the wrong date.
They're standing there and they're filling this out and they're talking to their friend and they're excited
Right.
about their new gun and
I had a guy that bought a gun, and instead of writing today's date on the form, he wrote
his birthday.
his birthday. So today's date was like August 13th, but he wrote 1937 instead of.
Correct. So he came on his birthday to buy a gun, and instead of writing the year that he
Right,
was standing there,
2010 or whatever, he wrote 1937.
1937. So you
So
knew.
it had stuff written in that spot, and I didn't catch it, and so I ended up having to send him a certified letter to get him
to fix it. But with the zero tolerance, they could and were pulling your FFL license and shutting your gun shop down because you were not careful with the paperwork. I remember when we got the person who said that we were using Ohio OH and a dot instead of writing Ohio out. And so it was the postal code for Ohio, but that was unacceptable to them, and we had to spell it out.
Right, so eventually they changed that,
but that would have been another document error. And so we were on record as having several document errors that included the postal code for the state of Ohio.
So that triggers more
audits, more things. So the National Shooting Sports Foundation believes that they are shifting directions again because they revised and modified the Federal Firearms Administrative Action Policy and Procedures document as of August 29 of 2024. So it's been a very short period of time, but the National Shooting Sports Foundation is asked specifically in the Freedom of Information Act, because the ATF is not going to tell you they revised the document. They didn't tell you when they revised it the last go round. You got to figure this out. So they didn't tell you they revised the document, but it has been revised. And so they want to know what the revocable offenses are listed in the FFAAPP manual to tell them exactly what would be the things that would cause them to get their firearms license revoked. And they want to know, they'd like to see the revision document that says, what was it? What is it? So what did you change and where did you change it in there? And so the part in this article that kind of cracks me up is that there's been tremendous pushback from the field agents that caused this modification in August of 2024. And because they say that the policy that had been implemented as of January of 2023 had the agents complaining that they had relationships with the gun shops, and those relationships are being destroyed. The gun shops aren't trusting the agents. They are no longer saying, oh goody, the ATF is at our door. Let's stand and talk to Frank or Harry or Joe or John or whatever
Well, if they
the
have a
agents
question,
are.
they could call Frank or Harry or Joe. Or
Yeah, they're
John.
not.
Now
They're
don't
like-
want. They're not. I'm not
We
going to
want-
tip my hat to the fact that something's
We
wrong.
want nothing to do with Frank or Harry or Joe or John.
I'm going to the hospital and using their phone to call. So
We
nobody
want
can
them to
check.
pretend like they don't even know our name. And so it's the part that kind of gets me is the ATF seems shocked that when they go after gun shops and they weaponize those gun shops, I mean, admittedly, if you are selling guns to convicts, if you're going, I'm not asking, I'm not telling, I'm not looking, then yeah, shut them down because they are breaking the law. But when you take the law and you flex it so hard that your whole goal is, look at this, they smudged a word on the paper so it's not written clear and concise. Okay, that's it. We are shutting down your business. We are financially bankrupting you. You have to, because, oh, by the way, you still have inventory and a lease and, you know, all of those things. And guess what? The ATF's not covering any of that. It's not like they're going to help you out. They're like, you were shut down, so figure it out and lock the doors, and you will not be allowed to open them back up. So, imagine. It's a problem.
Sounds like a Facebook ban.
Just a little problem, okay? Yeah, well, you can't fix this with a video, and I'm sorry, I didn't know what you're talking about. You are in deep, deep water that, I mean, that impacts your livelihood, your family, your employees, payrolls, and all of that. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Exactly. Um, but the ATF seems shocked that the agents aren't getting a warm welcome when they're in there going, sort of like saying, oh, goody, the IRS is here. Let's see what they want us to talk about, right? Here, let's just open everything up.
Funny, I mean, from dealing with the ATF is the fact that most of them are not gun people. They have no idea what they're talking about gun-wise. It's all, is every box got the right marks in it? That's about
so there's a lot more accountants and document control people than there is actually firearms people. But you look at it, they are part of the firearms part of the BATFE, but they could have just been as easily put in the alcohol and the tobacco or the firearms or the explosives segment. I got a promotion and I just went from guns to bombs, right? Oh, I just got a promotion and I just went from guns to whiskey.
Yeah, but you would think that they would kind of keep you in your own lanes because there's some terminology and things you have to learn in that business to keep going.
There you go, thinking again. I'm thinking that the government is going to make logical sense as it makes management decisions.
What do I know?
I'm going to say in that case, I am not holding my breath and I do not have high hopes. But so it's interesting. So we'll stay tuned and watch what's going on with the NSSF, and they will fill us in on what they find in this Freedom of Information Act. And that too is something
I would imagine the government has to hate that freedom of information stuff.
They have to hate it. They hate sunshine laws and FOIA requests because you have to. There's a spot where they're supposed to be open and what is the word? Not crooked, but there's a word.
Transparent.
But transparent. That's the word. They're supposed to be transparent. And they're not. Yeah. Well, I was right. It's not. They're not supposed to be crooked either, but they're supposed to be transparent. And there's some that I don't think they're from the government, and they're there to help.
You wonder what team they're on.
They're not on ours. Okay, we'll be back right after this.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
6 says that Feinstein claimed that she was an expert on guns because she'd seen thousands of pictures of them. And then he went on to say that may make him a gynecologist because pictures, We'll just move on from that. But
reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey, we're back for hour 2, and let's talk a little bit about politics and guns. And so there's an article that's out that says that the fight over guns may have stagnated, and that there's a lack of voter interest in the Second Amendment, and so nobody's really paying attention to it. They're saying, okay, I know where my candidates stand, and I am good, or I am good, my candidate will be just fine.
Well, I think that you've got both camps understand where they're at, and they're not going to change sides or anything. So it's not like we're getting new gun control laws or anything. We're pretty much stuck with what we have. So now we have to worry about other issues in the news, and not so much about the.
Maybe, but I believe that having an anti.
I mean, if they came out with a just shoe pounding rant like the Russians used to, and
right.
said what was going on, we may change our
mind. Well,
we're not expecting any of that to happen.
See, and I'm not expecting that, but I'm expecting the repercussions of that. I'm expecting it to be the slide in backdoor stuff, like currently. I mean, Joe Biden.
You can't trust either one of them as far as you can throw them, but I mean, at least Trump's been shot at a couple times, and he hasn't come out saying.
So I'm against guns, but Joe Biden during his presidency created the Office of Gun Safety and put Moms Demand Action and Every Town for Gun Safety in the White House with an office.
Say we got a pro-gun president. I'm not saying Donald Trump is him, but say we got a pro-gun president. If they restaff that office with NRA members, would that trigger something else going on, or would that be
it probably would be an interesting thing with gun safety, and all of a sudden they were like, okay, hunter safety in all the schools. We're going to do the Appleseed program in all the schools. We're going to, you got driver's ed, we're going to do hunter safety, right? That type of thing would just blow some people's minds. But so there's a lot of that. So gun owners are kind of going, okay, ho hum, either that or they're just so solid that they're not shifting. But the election is really made up of independents, because they've already counted the Republicans, they've already counted the Democrats, they've already counted all the desk beating folks, and it's the ones who are like, I haven't made up my mind yet. And those of us who are so solid are like, what are you waiting for? It's all there. All the information's there. You should, I mean, you're grown-ups. You should be seeing and paying attention to what's happening. But Kamala, right now, is trying to say that she's not anti-gun. She owns a gun. But
you see the media where she says she's going to come to your house and see if she stores.
So she has been on record about mandatory gun buybacks, and if you guys have listened to this show at all, you know that there is no such thing as a government mandatory gun buyback, because that means they owned it in the first place and they didn't. So that's a mandatory, that is confiscation. So she is in favor of gun confiscation, and then you put this one should make you really, really wonder. And it is the fact that when she was the prosecuting attorney, district attorney in San Francisco, there's a video of her saying that just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home. So think about this. It's in your house. It's locked in your locked home. That doesn't mean that we are not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the ways you conduct your affairs.
I wouldn't want that,
I would think that the officers would be like, I'm tapping out, right? Because think about...
Got a lifespan like a World War I airplane pilot.
I just... So she's right now. She's doing this whole "I'm a gun owner. I'm one of you. You're no more one of me than my tail feathers are on fire." Right? And last time I looked, I didn't have any tail feathers. So there is that. But she was a prosecuting attorney when she said this. So who would know more than the prosecuting attorney saying that I'm going to go to your house and do an illegal search and seizure? Who would know more that that was illegal than the prosecutor who prosecutes such things, right? That was her wheelhouse.
Well, it's like all the rest of the stuff she's saying, though. I mean, if she was really meaning it, she would have already implemented it because she's been in charge for the last 3.5 years.
Right.
I mean, I remember when they made her the border czar, and then she wouldn't even go to the border.
No,
so
they're scary people
now
at the
they're
border.
walking that back, saying she's not the border.
She was
czar.
never the border czar. Yeah, well, I believe they made a big to do over it, and the internet is forever. The internet is absolutely forever. But so these videos are coming up, and unlike some videos that you're seeing this political season, this one is actually true and real. So there's some of this. I'll tell you, I'm really concerned that in the next few years, when something comes up, you're going to be like, is it real? Remember the commercial, is it real or is it Memorex? Right? Or is it live or is it Memorex? Is it real or is it AI? And so
you're seeing that now in some of the stuff on Facebook where the ads and the barn find old cars and all this stuff is all just a figmentation of someone's imagination.
okay. I don't know. So one of our listeners is going, and that was the same era where Trump was a Democrat, and you are correct. He was a Democrat, and currently, he is not as solidly Second Amendment as I would want him to be, but he is more solidly Second Amendment than he was in his first presidential term. So he's getting it, and he's morphing and transforming. And really, you've got to look at this to say, do you want chocolate ice cream or do you want vanilla? Do you want sprinkles on top? What are you signing up for? Which candidate, which party, which platform, what path are you going down? And it's like, so which dessert are you picking? And they're out there, and you can see each and every one of them as to what they are in what is published in their platform, and then there's the statements to it. So it's really kind of weird because you not only get the platform, which is what the party's going to push them to do, then you get the personalities and the person and what they think and believe. And so there will be a spot where the party says we're anti-gun, and then the candidate says that I'm going to double down on anti-gun. There's not a chance that pro-gun Democrats couldn't sway that, right? That's really where we are, and it's an interesting place, and I don't know where or how politics in the United States has gotten us to this place, because we have to pay more attention at the grassroots level with our judges, with our city council, with our county commissioners, because little politicians grow up to be big politicians, and then they get picked from there.
You think about it, the liberals that are in charge in Washington are old now, but when they were 20, they realized that their policies got them shot at on college campuses.
Right.
So they went behind the scene and got a job in government, and then slowly they've grown themselves into
leadership,
what we know today.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're looking at some of this stuff, I mean, it's taken 40, 50 years for it to take place, but then they're the same ones that realize that heading into it full throttle House or the
Yeah.
Senate level isn't working. So they realize that their judges can come around the backside of the barn and sneak up and hit you in the head with something. And it's almost
so
as
it's
good.
it's activist judges. It is let's redo the Supreme Court. When they talk about resizing the Supreme Court, that's another one.
Well, they were good when they had the majority, but when Trump
They didn't.
stacked the deck against them now,
Right.
and as looking, that's another big thing is this time we're
president-
going to get to pick another one or two,
Supreme Court justices. So that is going to drive
and that will make another 40 years of difference
policy.
between. So they
Right.
definitely need to hold on to this.
So so one of our listeners said we'll get more pro 2A federal judges, or at least constitutional ones, because Trump picks
Grab your friends and head
constitutionalists.
to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Have you ever lost that perfect grip after shooting multiple rounds or had your sweaty grip diminish the ability to hang on to your firearm in different weather conditions? The locked-in grip is a grip enhancer that keeps your hands free of moisture to create a slip-free connection to the action of shooting your firearm. Locked-in grip liquid shooting sports chalk is made for shooters by shooters. Visit lockedingrip.com. That is lockedingrip.com to purchase your liquid shooting sports chalk now.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, so we are back. I was hip deep in this article about Illinois' guns and magazine ban and the court case that's going on with it, and how they are. So, in a lot of cases, you end up with these court cases, and then you're wondering, okay, so this guy testifies, and you read it, and you're like, okay, that's a good point. And then this guy testifies, and you're like, oh, darn, that's a good point. And then you're like, oh, he just made a good, and so you're watching it kind of like you're watching a tennis tournament or a volleyball game. Well, in this case, the judge has created his own drama in the middle of it, and it's fabulous. So this is the final day of testimony.
I think some of it is that Bruin and his history, text, and tradition is drawn out a lot of history, text, and tradition that was hidden in the past.
That people are looking at and paying attention to and doing. So the U.S. District Judge Stephen McGinnis says that he's going to issue a ruling on the constitutionality of bans on both Illinois' guns and magazines. And so, because Illinois is one of the states that has the most restrictive gun laws and the things that they do to their citizenry. So, so Judge McGinnis was actually born across the street from where a set of race riots took place in St. Louis. And so history buffs and the folks that are in that community specifically knew that this took place, and that what it was, why it was, what happened with it. And McGinnis seems to be the student of a series of books on these race riots and on these attacks and on these murders. And so his specific question is, he was talking rhetorically that during the race riots in St. Louis, if the death toll would have been different if some of the black residents had been better armed. And there were absolute lot of deaths in this St. Louis race riots. So there are a couple books that lead you down this path, and Negroes and the Gun, The Black Tradition of Arms, written by Fordham University's Professor Nicholas Johnson, is one that kind of gets you there. And then the other is the stories and the information around Ida B. Wells, Ida B. Wells was a black gal who famously urged the blacks in the 1890s to purchase and possess Winchester repeating rifles, which frankly at that time were, as a repeating rifle in the 1890s, was the mass shooter assault weapon, something it shot more and faster than anything that was available to them. But so she was at a meeting, a large group meeting of black residents, and she urged them to go get guns, put them in your homes, protect yourself. Let no black man permit a policeman to come in and get these guns. She said, she's standing there at the podium saying that Negroes everywhere should stand their ground and sell their lives as dearly as possible when attacked. I mean, those are her words. She's saying, this gun defends this life. This gun defends this community. And it is an absolute excellent point. So by Judge McGinnis Judge McGlinnis, by him pulling these facts, it kind of gives us a hint into the fact that Illinois is probably not going to like his
decision. It'll be interesting to watch them, because they'll try to mitigate the damages here as much as possible, so
Uh-huh.
that maybe Illinois will have to take the brunt of this, but
Right.
that it won't affect New York
And there,
New
so then
Jersey and
there'll
all
be
the-
this politicking about don't challenge, because if you challenge, then it could potentially go to the Supreme Court. So now there'll be all this jockeying for position. But Illinois may not be as well. It may not be as anti-gun in actuality as the leadership wants it to be, and they may have to, as you say, take one for the team. They may just have to shut up, live with this solution to the litigation.
But it'll be interesting to watch this because, like I say, it could be far-reaching and apply to all states, or it could only just apply to Illinois. And
Well,
so
he's
we'll
a
see.
U.S. district judge, so his ruling is got a scope, and he can't rule outside that scope.
Okay, so he'll have like 3 to 5 states or whatever that he's dealing with,
And then that's where that scope
and
is. Yeah,
if they
challenge
argue
it.
then it goes to a bigger court.
If
and-
they yes, so they're going to be Maryland is going to tell them shut up, sit down, take it, and leave us alone. Because if you challenge it, it then gets to go to the Supreme Court. If you don't challenge it, then they still can use those decisions in the Maryland ban that the Supreme Court of the United States is considering right now. So these are all building blocks and positioning themselves as to which answers, what things, where did it come from, what are you using for history, text, and tradition. And so we're seeing gun restrictions trying to quote the 1390s and the 1610s, and this guy's going, okay, let's talk about 1921. Great. History, text, and tradition. These are the things that could have happened, and let's nip it in the bud now. So our fingers are crossed here at the Eye on the Target studio that this judge will make the correct.
The 20s, we always hear about the gangsters, but I mean, you think about it, the 20s, they were fighting with the GIs who'd come back from World War One and weren't getting treated fairly, so they camped out in Washington, and they ended up shooting at them. The coal mines in West Virginia, they had big shooting wars there.
Yeah.
Oklahoma and
There was a lot of pushback because these guys come back as soldiers and they're like, I'm not taking it anymore. We'll be right back.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Have you ever lost that perfect grip after shooting multiple rounds or had your sweaty grip diminish the ability to hang on to your firearm in different weather conditions? The locked-in grip is a grip enhancer that keeps your hands free of moisture to create a slip-free connection to the action of shooting your firearm. Locked-in grip liquid shooting sports chalk is made for shooters by shooters. Visit lockedingrip.com. That is lockedingrip.com to purchase your liquid shooting sports chalk now.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the backseat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
So we're back. So there's the battle in Texas right now about whether or not they can ban carry at the Texas State Fairgrounds. And so last year, so they have been not restricting carry at their fair for years and years and years. So it's been, okay, you can, no big deal. Last year, someone who was not licensed to or not free to, or we'll just say a prohibited person, had a discharge. I'm not going to say accidental, but it was more negligent, but they had a discharge. So an unlicensed gun holder committed a crime, and now this year they punish everyone by not allowing them to defend themselves there. So it sort of proves why you would need to carry there if the person who is a criminal was carrying there. And so now this year they're going to say, okay, if you're a law-abiding person, we expect you to follow this.
I think they call it the catch-22 there.
There's that.
But they say that the grounds are owned by the state, and
actually a not-for-profit, and a not-for-profit business runs the fair, and they have leased the fairgrounds for a 25-year lease. So everybody's
the same. It's the same group that always ran the fair. They just created a not-for-profit so that they could
do this. So it's the state of Texas. The State Fair of Texas is a private event operated and controlled by a private non-profit entity and not the city. And so Dallas, the city, says that since it's a private a private non-business runs the fair, it could ban firearms. So now all of a sudden the attorney general, the judge has sided with them.
He's got a couple more days to fight it, but the fair starts on I think on the 30th or 31st.
It starts It starts Friday, September 27th. It's coming up quick, so it's interesting to watch the jockeying for position, but know that there's these decisions that take place, and then all of a sudden they have all these other repercussions.
And the liberals hate this guy. That's the
Paxton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's been in their
sites, and so this is an opportunity. Let's go to Gun Tote, Texas, and restrict them and see what they can do and see if they can stop us. So this is going to be stay tuned for this. We talked last week. I'm moving on to another story that was a stay tuned for this. We talked last week about Ohio gun buybacks and the fact that we were talking on Sunday about an event that happened Saturday, but we had no data on it. So now we've got the data, and so they had in Ohio, the authorities bought 234 firearms over the course of that before they ran out of their money. The average this time was $453 per firearm, which was was $50 more than last year's, $56 more than last year's $397 average.
Well, the funny part, they were saying that they paid extra for AR-15, so they got 96 of them, but they could go down the street and buy both halves of an AR and bolt it together for about $300.
Right.
And then sell it to the
so
city
it became
for
$750. It became a profit center. I mean, even if you just go to some of the discount warehouses, you can buy an AR in the $500 range. So you buy it, make $250. It's and you bleed them of all their money, and you sell some more guns.
It's not a bad part-time job. The one guy said he got $2,000 out of the thing, and then went right down to the gun shop to replenish his supply.
So it took him 3 hours of standing in line, and he gained $2,000 back in what he sold, and then he went to the gun store and bought some more guns. So I don't think, riddle me this, Batman, but I don't think that that's actually the intention of these gun buyback folks, but there is that.
To see capitalism in action.
Something like that. It's it's pretty interesting. And then there were some people that were there with signs that said, "We will pay for your guns," and they couldn't offer a price because the government was paying more than over retail. So they couldn't find any deals until after the government ran out of money, and then they bought guns to get them off the street.
Sometimes too, if you look through, there's some things that are worth more money if you know what you're looking for. So you may be able to find some, what do they call them, diamonds in the rough there.
Right.
As you're going through, it's like nope. Yep, this one's worth 3 times what I'm going to end up paying for it. So.
Right. They said that they ran out of their gift cards early. Imagine that. So as soon as you say that you're going to give me $750 for an AR that I paid, because I remember not too long ago they were selling for $399.
Right.
So yeah.
There's a polling group, and they're saying the Hispanic voters are citing gun control as their top concern. But they don't. The way their poll is written, they don't go into detail on likely voters. They only go with registered voters.
Okay.
And then they're saying that the Hispanic are underrepresented by the voter. That very few Hispanics actually vote.
Okay.
So even though they got all this data, they say that it's all skewed and
they can't quite tell what's going to happen with it. So, which means that the conservatives are working on getting out a Hispanic vote. So, the left has thought that that they really own the Hispanic voters, but I don't believe that they hardcore understand them, because they're predominantly conservative, religious,
Well, I think
family
when you see
oriented.
the older Hispanics, a lot of them came from a conflict area, and they understand the need for the gun. The younger ones that have just been born here and never had that issue, they really don't understand the need for the gun. So there is some, we're growing out of caution and back into a dangerous area.
hmm So, and one of the other things is they're citing stopping school shootings as a top political issue. And the interesting thing to that is it's not saying take away guns to stop school shootings. It is to come up with workable solutions to stop school shootings. And those are two, every group has the desire to stop school shootings. Every group has a different way of going about it, a different belief in what will be the solution to stop them. But there is not a person out there besides the actual school shooter who doesn't want to stop school shootings, who doesn't want to protect the children. And so depending on surveys, sometimes are hard in those kind of cases because you end up with a question that could have an answer all across the spectrum, all across the pendulum, depending on what it's asked and then what the respondent is thinking while they're responding. And so again, that causes your survey to be muddled because you can't sort what exactly, where exactly are they going? What's the spin to it?
Right. You'd think that some of it is just putting some people in the schools. I mean, whether it's retired people just to walk the halls and pay attention, or whether to put I mean, we're already paying the National Guard. Why not make them work
Military. So
school?
even if they put the military recruiters in there, they put, you're looking for offices, for satellite offices for different things. Maybe you offer it up to where if there's a security or protection company in the community, if they'd like to use a school room to be their office,
No, that's just old people get with the free coffee clutch they can all come in and.
So you go to the American Vets and all the different.
They got a spot they just go into the school and they can walk the halls and talk to each other and to
pay
their
attention.
kids and
Right.
pay attention to what's going on. And
I think there's a bunch of that, but then the schools have flipped to the other side of that, which is I don't want more community in my school. I want less people. So I want the kids to have less interaction because there's this perception that, oh, well, maybe they're the danger. Maybe that person would be more dangerous too. And it's like, I'm with you though. I think we need more community.
I think our schools are getting more and more like the prison system than they are like public schools.
Right.
And I don't see that by painting it all black and putting 10-foot razor wire up that it makes it friendlier and more welcoming.
And I think that I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were talking about one of the students saying, look, what motivates people to act out is to get attention, to be seen, and so these old folks can see them. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Seffacool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Have you ever lost that perfect grip after shooting multiple rounds or had your sweaty grip diminish the ability to hang on to your firearm in different weather conditions? The Locked-In Grip is a grip enhancer that keeps your hands free of moisture to create a slip-free connection to the action of shooting your firearm. Locked-In Grip Liquid Shooting Sports Chalk is made for shooters by shooters. Visit LockedInGrip.com. That is LockedInGrip.com to purchase your Liquid Shooting Sports Chalk now.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about rifling. Not quite. We are going to talk about the interesting. People say that we're going to have an ammo shortage again. That it's coming. That the ammo prices are going up. That ammo's moving around. So I'm going to say that you need to be dollar cost averaging. So when you get a paycheck and you're an ammo user, go buy some. Get some, order some, start to stockpile it. But now we're hearing a whole new thing. Had been a primer shortage. Now there is a shortage on a whole variety of.
Well, antimony and on gun cotton, nitrocellulose. So,
okay.
Nitrocellulose is just it's a cellulose that is has a 12 to 14% nitro
glycerin stuff in it. So
yeah, they use nitric acid and sulfuric acid to make it flammable.
Okay, so it's
primarily they tried using it to make gunpowder in the 1880s because they were trying to get away from the black powder. It didn't work as a suitable substitute because it intended to hand grenade the gun.
Okay.
But they use it in the manufacture of regular gunpowder because they use a percentage of it to make it, and then also they use it in large shells, like
for fireworks and for big
or
munitions
even like
and stuff.
field pieces, stuff
Okay.
like this. That they so it does make a difference, and then the antimony is what hardens the lead and stuff, so that
Okay.
they can reclaim it out of batteries and things like this here in the U.S. But since we've closed our lead mines and stuff,
Oh my, yeah. So we have allowed the EPA to restrict what we're doing with the not invented here, not dug here, not mined here, not
so
we let
luckily
someone
for
else
us,
do it.
we just have to buy it from like Turkmenistan or something in Australia because the Chinese have just passed a law saying that they're not selling it to us anymore.
Yeah, so the headline is China's dominance in the production of antimony and nitrocellulose cannot be overstated. As the world's largest producer of antimony, China accounts for nearly half of the global production and supplies 63% of the U.S. antimony imports. And so in August of 2024, China announced that it would discontinue the exports of these materials to the United States. And so this follows a series of similar moves in June of 2024 to restrict the global flow of critical materials and materials in the name of national security. So we've been talking about this. I mean, for a while, it's like national security stuff, and we've allowed the EPA to restrict what happens in the United States.
Well,
we don't make gunpowder. We don't mine lead. There's all of this stuff that we can't do in the United States because it's not good for the field mouse.
Right. Well, also too, a gunpowder factory and that it's not if it'll blow up, it's when will it blow up. So they know for a fact that it's going to do that. So it's hard on employees.
It's
at that
really
point.
extremely dangerous, and it needs to be very high paid, and it needs to be very one, regimented, and the other is that if there is a spot where they could automate it, so that you're really reducing.
But that's the thing. So they pretty much stopped manufacture of gunpowder in the U.S. and usually it comes from Australia, the Ukraine, or one of those locations, and we ship all the stuff in here. But it's kind of funny because we had 3 or 4 gunpowder manufacturers, and now it seems like Hodgson's in charge of all of that. So they've slowly kind of gathered everybody under one big tent.
And so, isn't there there's a spot where the United States doesn't let one company buy multiple companies.
And that's the thing too. But now that they have the one company that was federal, and they bought Spear and a couple other things just a couple years ago, and now they're looking at selling it to the Czechoslovakian government.
Right, and then they're fighting with, do they let it out of the country? So now they've got Hudson and they've got them, and then.
And I don't think they're going to take it out of the country. They were just going to
own it out of the country.
Right, they're just going to own it out of the country, but they're trying to stop that from happening too.
Well, the concern about owning it out of the country is national security. So when we get into a war, then what side is the ownership on?
Right, and they understand how much stockpile is there and how fast they can make it, and all the little secret things that the other guy doesn't want you to know.
Well, there's all that, and they can either slow walk it or stop it, or then they can make corporate decisions once they own it. So all of those pieces really play into. We've not done a great job in protecting national defense, national security, and the items associated with that.
Right. Well, and during the Second World War, we built a lot of ammunition factories, and it's kind of funny because like Chrysler and other companies that were not in the gun business were in charge of some of these ammunition plants, and over the years now we've closed most of these plants down, and but the other ones like Twin Cities, we still get ammo from there. It's government owned, but they lease it to the highest bidder. So for a while, Federal's in charge, then Winchester's back in charge. They back and forth every couple of years. Somebody else bids a little more money. So
Right.
and you're seeing too some of your politicians in Washington are wanting, like, where right now you can buy 223 ammo. It's got the Twin Cities stamps. It's sealed, waterproof, everything.
And they're
just like
saying we
standard.
don't want them to be able to sell it to anybody but the military.
Right, so it's standard government issue ammo that it's just an overrun at the end of the line. So they just keep manufacturing.
Well, they want to. So the government wants. Let's say that the process line runs 10 hours a day, and the government's need fills 8 hours a day. So do you stop it, or do you make something, continue to make it?
So they make
so
it,
that
and then
they can,
sell it. They sell it on the commercial market, and some of the politicians are trying to stop that also.
But the reason that people bid is that ability to make the other, to be able to market that too. I mean,
And
that's included in the bid.
government standards are very high, so the quality is very good on this ammo. So if you see that ammo for sale, you have no question that you're interested in buying it versus buying from some other country that you have no idea who.
Correct. So, because I mean, there's times when you'll get a box and it's like, it says it's Raging Tiger or Brown Bear or, Blackfoot
You bought some stuff one time. It was like Greek 9mm. There was the 9mm ultras and 9mm longs all mixed in with it.
Oh yeah, there was I got 9mm Makarovs in my case of. It was brand name was Olympic. So it was a blue box. I remember because I had 9mm Makarovs.
There was long ones and short ones and all kinds of stuff.
It was a hot quality mess, a hot quality mess, and there's nothing worse than trying to make your gun run the way your gun's supposed to run when the quality is not
right
there.
now, if you're thinking that you're going to need ammo in the future, buy it now. Spend a little bit of money and sleep well at night.
It really is dollar cost averaging. You spend X number of dollars every paycheck until you get what you want in your backup, because it's coming, kids. It is absolutely coming. Not that we would have known what nitrocellulose is, but I don't know what gun cotton is.
It's just it's nitride. It's that
fluffy.
flash. The flash paper that the magicians use. They basically do the same thing to cotton or to some kind of a fiber, and that way then it makes it burn, but it doesn't have a controlled, like the regular gunpowder.
Okay.
They they coat it and things to make it burn at a certain
rate. This just goes. Well, folks, Rob will fill us in on more interesting stuff next week.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.